When 7.5 million pounds of thrust propelled the Saturn V rocket off the pad in 1969, it stood as a peak achievement of American engineering. Millions of families gathered around small television sets, watching this journey broadcast to the world and anchored by the most trusted public voices of the era. The lead architect of the rocket, Wernher von Braun, was given a hero's welcome. He became a celebrity, celebrated nationwide as a visionary of the space age. But the man who directed the development of the Saturn V had spent his recent past wearing a very different uniform, as a commissioned officer in the Nazi SS. Getting him to the United States required Operation Paperclip, a covert government initiative designed to acquire Nazi scientific talent before the Soviet Union could. This program ensured that a group of men who designed weapons for the Third Reich would eventually lead the most ambitious technical project in American history. In the spring of 1945, as the Third Reich collapsed, Allied forces pivoted their focus toward a new kind of prize. They called it intellectual reparations. The U.S. military prioritized hunting down Nazi scientific blueprints and the personnel behind them, viewing them as the primary spoils of war. Von Braun and his elite team of engineers understood their leverage. Realizing they were valuable bargaining chips, they orchestrated their own surrender directly to the Americans. Their primary contribution to the war effort was the V-2 rocket. It was the first long-range ballistic missile, built as an instrument of terror rather than exploration. Plunging down from the very edge of space at supersonic speeds, the V-2 missile simply could not be intercepted. It leveled city blocks, inflicting a massive physical toll on civilian targets across London and Antwerp. By recruiting these men, the United States was acquiring the expertise of those who had mastered the art of long-range destruction. To find the true cost of that expertise, you have to look into the Harz Mountains, specifically the Mittelwerk facility where the V-2 was manufactured. The V-2 rockets were built using the slave labor of concentration camp prisoners. Thousands of these workers died in the Mittelbau-Dora tunnels from exhaustion, starvation, and physical abuse. This classified intelligence bulletin is part of the evidence showing that top scientists were aware of the conditions and the mass deaths occurring within their production factories. Bringing these men to America created a legal conflict. U.S. immigration laws at the time prohibited granting visas to active Nazi Party members or those complicit in war crimes. To bypass these restrictions, intelligence officers literally used paperclips. They fastened new, sanitized biographies over the scientists' original personnel files. By systematically rebranding these men as victims of the regime, the government erased their wartime records to secure their arrival in American laps. Once settled in the United States, the paperclip scientists applied their wartime ballistics directly to the Redstone and Saturn rocket programs. The success of the Apollo missions provided a powerful narrative of triumph, effectively distancing the scientists' American careers from their roles in the Third Reich. Decades later, declassified documents placed Nazi terror and American exploration side by side, revealing their shared engineering lineage. You can see the same structural logic in the internal combustion chambers and aerodynamic fins of both rockets, relying on principles established in the tunnels of Mittelwerk. As we look toward future missions to Mars, we are forced to consider the weight of this compromise and how it has influenced the transparency of government programs. The 1969 lunar landing remains an astounding achievement of human history. We must decide if that victory is altered by the deal allowing its architects to trade their past for a place in our future.